The history of the USSR atomic project started in 1943 year. During the second half of the 20th century, Soviet nuclear physicists made a huge contribution to the defense industry. The atomic bomb did not remain at the same level as the bomb of the times of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Thanks to the efforts of Soviet scientists, the power of this weapon was increased thousands of times. Soviet specialists have made a huge step forward in the nuclear power industry. On the 26th of June, 1954, the launch of the world's first nuclear power plant took place in the city of Obninsk, Kaluga region, and the phrase of the project managers that sounded that day with a light steam can even be compared with Gagarin's phrase, "Let's go." One became a symbol of the space age, and the second, the beginning of the era of the peaceful atom. And the beginning of this video will be your like and subscription to the channel. Thanks and let's go. 30 years later, in 1985 year, Soviet nuclear power plants produced 11% of the total energy generated in the USSR that year. This was more than 4,000 times the total used capacity of the rivers of the globe. In 1990, the share was already 12.5%. Nuclear power plants not only provided at least 1/8 of the total electricity in the country, but also became system-forming. They still determine the structure of high-voltage power lines in the European part of Russia. And since they are located close to the borders of Finland, the Baltic states and the CIS, electricity is safely exported with their help. But during the existence of the USSR, nuclear power plants themselves were exported. They were built in the GDR, Finland, Czechoslovakia, Hungary, and Bulgaria. All of this, in general, continues to happen now. And in one of the videos, I have already said that the nuclear giant Rosatom is engaged in the construction of completely ready-made nuclear power plant solutions in Asian countries. And in the process of all this is setting new world records. For example, this year they have manufactured 5 R-type reactors with internal devices and 18 steam generators. There was no such productivity either in the USSR or in the world at all. The previous record is 3 reactors and 18 steam generators, and it also belongs to them. Thus, Rosatom in 2023 year became a factory for the production of reactors. And Russia became a global leader in the export of nuclear technologies. In the USSR, there were also records, and even listed in the Guinness Book, for example, the Ignalina ENP. And even the Soviet nuclear submarine got there as the fastest submarine in the world. However, it was made only in 1 copy because of its high cost. By the way, if you are interested in the history of the Navy, then you should definitely look into the world of ships. Especially when the new year is on the nose, and it is not like the others here. Only here, if you are a new player, gifts of almost 16,000 rubles are waiting for you. And also take part in the drawing of real prizes in the Fleet of Gifts promotion, 20 smartphones, and a super prize. All you need to do is start playing from the 15th to the 28th of December by clicking on the link in the description. And if you are already a Sea Wolf, then take the combat task on the portal. Just play 5 fights, and you are already on the list of possible winners. Even from the 1st to the 8th of January, you can participate in the raffle gifts under a fur coat, where there will be new prizes every day, and the conditions are a little easier, 3 fights a day. There will be a new list of participants every day, so there are more chances to win. That's not all, the holiday update 12.11, and a lot of content have arrived in the ships. Only here, from the 20th of December, you can participate in the funny battles of Peter himself, and receive valuable awards. Also, New Year's containers are waiting for you, with a 20% chance of getting a cool premium ship from the giant version. As you can see, the new year is something special here. So rather take part in sweepstakes with a total prize pool of more than 1 million rubles. And for more than 70 years, everyone has been talking about power plants powered by the energy of controlled thermonuclear fusion, the concept of which also belongs to Soviet physicists. The first such installations were launched in the 1950s. The nuclear power plant uses a chain reaction of particle fission, then the essence of thermonuclear fusion is that we can get some particles by connecting others together, while there is a huge splash of energy, potentially millions of times more than when burning organic fuel, and 100 times more than the reactors of modern nuclear power plants give. However, we cannot just take one particle and combine it with another. It is necessary to overcome their electromagnetic repulsion from each other, and for this we must first spend a lot of energy to create a plasma, a cloud of charged ions, and keep it in a magnetic field. Because the temperature necessary for thermonuclear fusion will simply melt any material with which it will touch. Then gradually increasing the temperature of this plasma, we will force the ions to move faster and faster, until this speed allows them to crash into each other, overcoming the electromagnetic repulsion between them. It's like a small sun right here on Earth, Only the real sun has its own method of thermonuclear fusion, where particles are pressed together and combined under the influence of the huge gravity of the star. By the way, thermonuclear fusion is the most environmentally friendly source of energy because, roughly speaking, ordinary water is used as fuel. But there is one problem: ordinary hydrogen has one proton and one electron. And the energy released when two hydrogen atoms merge is small. And since the main task of scientists dealing with this issue is to get as much energy as possible, while spending as little as possible, deuterium is used instead of ordinary hydrogen, which has one proton, one electron, and one neutron, and the third, which has one proton, one electron, and two neutrons. It is the deuterium steam compound that allows you to get a lot of energy. However, there is another problem. Deuterium is quite common and naturally occurs in seawater, but the third one is not. We produce it ourselves with the help of nuclear power plants, and its global supply will only last for a couple of months. Of the ITER project, which is being built in the south of France, 35 countries participate in it, including Russia. And this project will be the first thermonuclear device whose energy output will exceed the cost of heating plasma, and the first capable of supporting thermonuclear fusion with positive efficiency for a long time. The problem with the third is still solvable, because neutrons emitted as a result of thermonuclear fusion can be collided with lithium, which after such a beating is converted into helium-4 and just the third, or you can replace the third with helium-3, which is rare on Earth, but there is a lot of it on the moon. The Soviet scientist Alexandrov said that such a method of energy extraction would be available to us already at the end of the 20th century. But everything turned out to be more complicated. In the 2016 year, thermonuclear energy was held in a dense plasma bag for 102 seconds. And this year in China, an artificial sun devoted 403 seconds. Great hopes are pinned on the terrorist projects that I have already mentioned, but what if we fail to implement this idea? The answer is nothing. However, if it does work out, a simple glass of seawater will produce as much energy without waste as a whole barrel of oil. Having mastered this energy in full, humanity will be able to significantly expand its capabilities, because infinite energy of any necessary capacity will be available to us. It will allow desalination of seawater, and we will be able to make any desert a fertile land. We will always have access to fresh water and environmentally friendly products, and will be able to provide people with quality healthcare. New energy can change our cities and the whole world beyond recognition. The last time this happened was at the turn of the 19th and 20th centuries, when man mastered oil and gas. Then horse-drawn sleds gave way to cars, then planes took to the air, and even later, a man went into space. Even now, the development of the Arctic with the help of nuclear icebreakers can change the world's logistics. And with the infinite energy of thermonuclear fusion, it will be possible to explore the entire world ocean, and even more. Open a new era of interplanetary flights, and in the conditions of deep space vacuum, to establish the production of materials and medicines that cannot be obtained on Earth. Manned expeditions to the moon and the creation of lunar infrastructure will not be some distant prospect. Nuclear technologies will allow humanity to move from temporary flights to a permanent presence in space, and reveal new secrets of the universe. Thank you for watching, for liking, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a comment. All this helps to promote the channel. Thank you very much for your support.